Okay, so diving into AI and machine learning, huh? Good choice. Seems like everyone's talking about it. We're checking out the AI and Machine Learning for Dummies app today, trying to see if it's, actually worth anyone's time.
Yeah, this app is definitely ambitious,
Yeah.
wants to be the go-to for, well, everyone, it seems, from total beginners to like seasoned professionals. I will say what's really got my attention is their whole quiz focus. Over 600 quizzes, that's a lot. They've got everything from the basics of machine learning to, get this, advanced applications on AWS, Azure, GCP, the whole shebang.
Wow, 600 quizzes. That's a lot to get through. It does make me wonder, though. I mean, is that much breadth really helpful? Or are they spreading themselves too thin?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right? It's one thing to give a little taste of everything, but really mastering something, that takes, well, focus. That being said, understanding how AI is being used on all these different platforms, especially those big ones you mentioned, that's becoming more and more important. And these
Yeah.
platforms, they're not just for the tech giants anymore. It's how businesses everywhere are using AI.
So even if you're not like trying to be a cloud expert, having some idea of how these platforms fit in is important.
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of like you don't have to be a mechanic to drive a car,
Right.
but knowing a bit about how the engine works, well, it makes you a better driver.
Yeah.
In the same way, knowing this stuff, it can make you a better user, a better developer, really, no matter what you're focused on.
Makes sense. So it's not just memorizing facts for some quiz, it's about actually understanding the whole AI world. But let's break this down a little. We talked about the quizzes. What else is in this app?
So along with all the quizzes, they've got cheat sheets, which, can be handy, and interview prep stuff.
Hmm.
And they say they update the interview prep every day, which is interesting, especially in a field like AI where things change so fast.
Yeah, the tech world moves fast. Outdated info can really hurt you, especially in an interview. Having the latest questions and answers, that could be huge for anyone trying to get a job in this field.
Speaking of jobs, how exactly does this app help your career? Well, it's less about promises and more about giving people the knowledge and the confidence, I guess, to handle this field. I mean, it is exciting, but can be a little intimidating. They seem to focus on two things: building a foundation in those core AI and ML concepts, and then getting you familiar with the tools and platforms employers want.
Okay, let's unpack that. First, the foundation stuff. What kind of topics are we talking about?
Well, they cover the essentials, like supervised and unsupervised learning, basically how machines learn from data with and without labels.
With and without labels. Okay, so what does that mean exactly?
So think of it like supervised learning. It's like having a teacher, right? They're there to correct your homework.
Hmm.
But unsupervised, it's like they give you a huge jigsaw puzzle, but there's no picture on the box. You have to figure out the patterns yourself, see how it all fits together.
Okay, I get it. So this app helps you get those concepts, but also how it all works in the real world.
Yeah, exactly. And they go beyond the basics, too. They get into neural networks, which are, well, they're inspired by the human brain.
Yeah.
It's what powers a lot of the AI we use every day, like those recommendations, the scarily good ones you get on streaming services.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
And, of course, generative AI, it's everywhere these days.
Generative AI, right? That's the one that does the AI images and text. That's all over, right?
That's the one.
Is that something someone who's just starting out with AI needs to know?
I mean, it's a big deal right now, and for
Yeah.
good reason. This tech, it could change everything from like making content to, well, even discovering new medicines, even just knowing a little bit about how it works, what it could do. It's becoming more and more important, really, no matter what part of AI you're into.
So it's like, I don't know, knowing about the latest blockbuster movie, even if you haven't seen it, you can at least talk about it.
Exactly. And moving on from those core concepts, they seem to spend a lot of time on those, what do we call them, the tools of the trade?
Right, like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, all those AI tools everyone's talking about. But aren't they all kind of like different versions of the same thing? I mean, why is it so important to know the differences?
That's a great question. They're all considered, conversational AI, large language models, but they all have their own, like, quirks. ChatGPT, for example, it's known for its text generation. It can write you a poem, a song, even code. Gemini, though, it's all about integrating with Google stuff, so it might be more seamless, within that world. And then there's Claude, which is supposed to be better at like reasoning and safety. So it's a good choice for things like healthcare, finance, things like that, where ethics really matter.
So it's like picking the right tool for the job. You wouldn't
Okay.
use a hammer to saw wood, right? Sounds like Knowing the strengths of these AI tools, that's a big deal, especially if you want to use them professionally. But shifting gears a bit, we've talked about what the app covers, but what about the learning itself? Is it just a information overload, or is there a structure to it all?
That's where their whole self-paced learning thing comes in. They get it. Everyone learns differently at their own pace, which is really important with AI. It's a complex field, always changing. So they've set up the app so you can jump around, go back to things, really focus on what you're most interested in.
Oh, that's good. I wouldn't want to feel like I'm back in school cramming for a test.
Yeah.
So this choose your own adventure, self-guided tour through AI, that's much better. Speaking of school, though, let's talk about their disclaimer. They say they're not officially tied to any of the big tech companies, even though they cover their platforms a lot. What's that all about?
Yeah, it's important. Basically, they're saying, look, we're giving you curated info based on public stuff. They're not saying they have secret insider knowledge or that they are an official way to get certified in those platforms.
So more like a really knowledgeable study buddy than the actual teacher.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's a good way to add to your learning, see things from different angles, make connections between ideas and platforms. But it's not going to replace, official docs, hands-on experience, especially for certifications.
Right, it makes sense. Like using a travel guide, it helps you plan your trip, but it's not the same as actually going there.
Exactly. But a good travel guide, it can spark your curiosity, give you a deeper understanding and give you the tools to navigate, well, in this case, this exciting, always changing landscape.
Sounds like this app has a lot going on. It makes you think, though, is it better to know a little about everything AI or really specialize in one specific area or platform?
Ah, the classic question, right? Generalist versus specialist. And with AI, it's becoming more and more relevant. Do you want to be the AWS master, know it inside and out? Or have a broader understanding, be able to work with AI across different systems?
Tough choice. Kind of like, do you want to be a master chef, cook anything? Or a Michelin star chef known for one amazing thing. They both have their perks. It really is. Like choosing your own path. Become the AI generalist, you can handle anything. Or the specialist, the expert in one specific thing. I guess that's what makes it exciting. So many possibilities.
I know, right? And the thing is, this AI and Machine Learning for Dummies app, it's just one tool. Like we said, it's not going to replace real-world experience or really diving deep with other resources,
Yeah.
but it's a good starting point. It's
That's
about finding what works for you, trying things out, and never losing that curiosity.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So to wrap things up, if you're looking for a fun way to learn about AI, maybe get a little head start on your job search, this app might be worth a look. Lots of quizzes, covers a lot of ground, but keep in mind, it's not a magic solution. It's just the beginning of your AI journey.